Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Standley with Standley Handcrafted, and today I wanted to talk about something that came up in the groups the other day, and it's obviously about candles, and that is wax, wicks, and some of the tops not looking the way that they're supposed to. And that, of course, is the wax pulling away from the top near the wick, which poses the question and the response, you pulled your wick too tight. And that's exactly what I wanted to get in here and talk about today is, can you pull your wick too tight, causing the top of the candle to look blemished? Now, this isn't a main topic I've covered before. I've talked about it a little bit in other videos with just wax settling, shrinking, anything like that. But I wanted to talk about this one because I've seen it pop up quite a bit again in the candle groups. And if you don't know what group I'm talking about, it's the Facebook group that I run over on Facebook, DIY Candle Making Beginner to Advanced. It's got a bunch of members in there talking about candles, a lot of tips, tricks, various help, and people just kind of showing off their creations. And this is in response to a lot of the comments that I see in there. And this is a comment that comes up quite a bit, and I think a lot of people get confused on this one, which is why I wanted to make a video on this. And what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna go ahead and place a picture of a candle right here that shows exactly what I'm talking about. And you can see in the picture right here what I'm talking about, and it's the wax that's surrounding the wick, and it looks like it's pulling away from the candle. And of course, I don't have a candle right now that actually shows this, but I think what a lot of people are misunderstanding on this one is the wick. If you look at the picture, it looks like the wick is pulling away from the wax, and it's basically taking some of the wax around the wick and separating it from the candle. And of course, at first glance, it's easy to look at that and think that the wax is being pulled away from the candle, but what's actually happening is the candle, as it settles, it's going down the jar, which basically leaves that wax up around the wick. And the reason it does that is when you're cooling your candle, it's going to cool around the edges first, and then of course it's going to solidify it, and it's going to cool a little bit around the wick because the wick is not the same temperature as the jar and the wax. And then of course what ends up happening, and I'll try to put another picture up here to kind of help explain this. So basically the wax is going to dip a little bit. All right, my camera cut out for a second, but I'm back. What I was saying, so basically what happens with that one is you get a little bit of the wax that solidifies around the wick. So you've got a little bit of wax that's starting to solidify and kind of harden around the edges of the vessel. You've got it a little bit solidified around the wick, and then that wax is going to drop down a little bit, leaving that excess wax on the wick. So I think what people end up trying to do is they leave their wick just a little bit loose. It does give it a little bit of playroom, but you're probably still going to end up with a little bit of wax on the wick, as the wax is probably going to sink a little bit lower than the slack that you might have in your wick to kind of go down with it. So basically pulling your wick too tight is not going to cause that. And I would definitely say to keep your wicks as tight as possible. Pull them up if you have a good wick sticker, or if you're using red RTV in the bottom of that one, definitely give it a nice good tug. Pull it up into the wick holder, snap it into place so that it doesn't move when that wax settles. And the reason you're going to want to do that is you want to make sure that when your candle is done, that wick is straight up and down through the vessel. You don't want it to bend or kind of curve to one side or the other, because as it burns down, that temperature or that wick is going to kind of shift side to side with the burn, and you could end up with an uneven burn. Now, of course, it's not going to get to the point where it's going to be really bad or anything like that, but you could end up with some excess wax on one side if your wick is kind of curved throughout the candle. All right, so I hope that kind of makes sense on this one. The only reason I wanted to do this video is because I see a lot of new people coming in, and it's easy to make that mistake and think the wick is pulled too tight. So seeing that comment pop up on the group and various threads quite often, I figured I might as well make a video on it and explain it a little bit better on why that happens. But of course, if I missed something and somebody is definitely meaning something different by pulling the wick too tight, please let me know what I missed in the comment section down below. I am absolutely open to new thoughts, new methods, and kind of new ways that people do things. So if I did miss something on that one, please let me know. But I just wanted to make a quick video on this one. I've got a few more videos coming up in the next few days. It's really getting close to fall and winter candle season. So I've got a bunch of videos coming out showing a bunch of new oils, kind of what to prepare for. It's definitely the time now to start getting those fall fragrances. So I've got a video coming out this week that talks about all that and how to kind of get prepared for that one, especially going into this candle season, which is kind of all over the place right now as far as getting supplies, sales being down, and honestly just a lot of uncertainty in the kind of the candle space right now, or not even in the candle space, but just the economy in general. So I want to make a few videos on that one. So if you guys have any thoughts, questions, comments on anything like that, please again let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try to add that to the next video. And if you've been following for any length of time, you know that we just released, or actually we've had these for a little while. These are the Lumen Glass Vogues. We've had these out for a little bit. We've lowered the price on these, especially going into the candle season. We wanted to get kind of a good price on these. So we've got a bunch of these over here, and I've got a video coming out on different waxes and wicking these things perfectly. So if you're currently using the Lumen Vogues, definitely stay tuned to that one. So we just got in all of the all seasons wax. So we're going to be testing all that wax in the metal vessels that I've got, as well as the Lumen Vogue vessels and a bunch of other vessels out there too. So if you want to see any of those waxes in a particular vessel, again, please let me know which one in the comment section down below, and we'll go through and try to add that to the next video as well. But that's pretty much it with this one. You can follow me on any of the social media platforms that I've listed in the links down below. And of course, you can get all these supplies that I just mentioned at DIYcandlesupply.com. I've got the link in the video description down below. So go ahead and jump over there, and we'll see you in the next video.